Hello, hello, welcome back to the Craft Scraps. I am Lauren and today we are going to be making this super cute little Libby glass cup. And I did actually partner with Cricut on this video, which is still insane to me. So thank you Cricut so much for partnering with me on this video. The materials I'm going to be using today for this cup is the Cricut Smart Vinyl in white and also the Cricut transfer tape. And then of course you're going to need some kind of glass. I am doing a glass can wrap for this video, so I'll show you how to make it and let's go. Alright, so I'm going to start this design in Design Space so you guys can see exactly how I made it. So this is the glass can wrap I'm going to be using, and all I did was I went to Images in Design Space and I think I just did glass can wrap. I'm trying to remember how I found this in the first place. But the nice thing is that Cricut Design Space has obviously tons of different designs. They even have more than when I just made this one a couple days ago. But you can see here, this is the Hearts glass can wrap. It does have a Cricut Access little ribbon on it. So you do need Cricut Access to use this one, but I'm sure there are other glass can wrap designs that you can use, or you can make your own. So to put this on the mat, I'm just going to click add to canvas, and you can see here we have the wrap ready to go. And to change it to white, I just came up here to the little color palette and click on white, but you can obviously make it whatever color you want. I'm just choosing white for this one in particular. For the sizing, I measured my glass can with a fabric tape measurer, and the best size for the glass that I personally used was a little less than 9.5 by just over 4 inches. So like 9.5 by 4, but a little bit smaller than that. And that is basically it. So we can come over here to make it. For this, I am not going to be using a mat because I am using Smart Materials. So I'm going to choose the without mat function. But of course, if you are using a different kind of vinyl, you can of course do it on the mat or however you want. So I'm going to click confirm. So our design is there and ready to go. So now it's going to find my machine. I'm using my Maker 3, but you can use whatever machine that you have. And the cut settings I'm going to use for this is the Smart Vinyl because it only gives you so many options with Smart Materials. So I'm going to be using the Smart Vinyl option. And now I'll switch you guys over to the camera so you can see how we're going to make it. All right, so the vinyl I'm going to be using today is this Cricut Smart Vinyl in white. So because I'm using the Smart Vinyl, I don't have to use a mat. So I'm just going to load it with my little vinyl roll thingy. I'll show you. So for Smart Vinyl, they came out with this little roll holder thing. So you just line up the little lines here. Just like that. So I just load the vinyl into the Cricut. Alright, so our load button is blinking. So if you're just using regular vinyl on a mat, your load light is still going to blink. So all you do is you click that. And if you have a mat, it'll load your mat with your vinyl. But in this case, since I'm using the Smart Materials, it's just loading my vinyl and it's pulling directly from the roll. And now our Cricut light is blinking, so this is the button that you click to start cutting. If you have an older version, it might look like the little Cricut logo. In this case, it looks like a little play button, so we will cut. Alright, so now that it's finished, we'll just click our load button again to unload our mat, to unload our vinyl, not our mat. But if you have a mat, you'll just unload it and take your vinyl off the mat. In this case, I'm just going to slice the vinyl Nope, I need to go up a little higher. So this is the cup I'm going to be making today. It's one of those super cute little, I think they're called Libby glasses. And I'm just taking some rubbing alcohol on a cotton ball, and I'm just going to clean our surface just to get any fingerprints off. And actually I think taking the lid off of this is going to make it easier because then I can hold it from the inside. And so I'm just cleaning it to get any fingerprints or dirt or dust off of it. And then while I'm weeding our vinyl, this can dry. All right, so now you're gonna wanna grab your weeding tool because now we're going to weed away the excess vinyl. So this actually might be kind of difficult to see because this vinyl is white and I'm pretty sure the backing is white. But basically all you wanna do is just pull up a corner, and I'm just gonna peel away this excess vinyl that we have here. Yep, it's a little difficult for you guys to see, but you can see it's leaving my little like heart design there. I definitely should have used a more vibrant color, so I apologize, but I really wanted this white. So you can see what we're left with here. Now some of these hearts have a like middle heart, so I'm gonna weed away the middle of the heart. All right, so for my transfer tape, I'm gonna be using this Cricut transfer tape here. I like this transfer tape because it has a grid on it, so it makes it really nice to line up. All right, so I'm just gonna place my transfer tape on my vinyl. The reason why we need transfer tape is because this is basically what's gonna transfer the vinyl to our glass. HTV on the other hand, or heat transfer vinyl, iron-on, typically you don't need transfer tape because it already comes with a transfer sheet. But in this case, we want to use the transfer tape because it will allow us to stick our design in one foul swoop. So I'm just going to place it. That's the nice thing about these glass can wraps, is it's like a one and done kind of project. All right, so I'm just gonna scrape this down really good. And for this project, I think I'm going to use the wet vinyl application method just because it allows you to move your design around as you're placing it. So whereas if you're applying vinyl, you know, directly to this dry, once it sticks, you're pretty much like married to that positioning. But with this wet method, it allows you to move it around. You just do have to let it dry for a little bit, but other than that, I feel like it's a much easier method. So I have this little solution here that I made. It just has a drop of Dawn dish soap, a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and water. So I'm just gonna spray all over my glass. I'm not saturating it too much, but I'm getting it wet enough just so it allows me to have more flexibility. All right, so now I'm gonna flip over my transfer tape, and I like to peel away the backing so that we're left with the design on the transfer tape. The Smart Materials, you do need to kind of like, it's pretty thick material, this carrier sheet back here, so I'm just kind of peeling and pressing and being as patient as possible. So you can kind of see I'm like basically almost like folding this in half, and it's peeling the carrier sheet from the vinyl. And I'm telling you guys, this like carrier sheet is sturdy. So just be patient with it. All right, so we have our design on our transfer tape, so now we can apply it. So to hold my cup steady, I'm going to use this little roll holder. It'll just help me kind of like be able to align my design. And again, I'm using the wet method, so this is a little bit wet still. So I'm just going to place this as best as I possibly can. And you can see that you can like move it around on the glass, which I personally love. All right, so I'm just going to start sticking it. And again, it's wet, so it's not gonna stick right away, but I'm just going to turn it. And if you don't have this exact tool, you can use like anything that you want. So I'm just turning and pressing. And this is a great method also to avoid air bubbles. And again, you can move your design around, so it just makes life a little bit easier. And especially if you're like starting out with these glass can wraps, it can be like really frustrating. For me, I know it was frustrating to like figure out the technique, so I'm just picking this up really quick. I have too much transfer tape here, so 1 second. I need to trim this. I have too much transfer tape. And it's not gonna work out for me. So again, this is like real-time crafting, okay? I edit my videos, but I'm making this as like real life as possible to show you that even after like years of doing this, we are all still trying to just figure it out. All right. I still have too much transfer tape here. Again, this is why this wet method is really helpful, because if I were to have realized that after sticking it to a dry glass, I think it would just not be good. All right. So now we have our glass completely wrapped. So I'm moving this out of the way. Now we are gonna scrape the heck out of this and get all that water out. And we're gonna really work on scraping this down. So I'm just scraping this down. I personally like a scraper that has this like soft edge to it, because it just helps me from like accidentally like lifting up an edge or something if I'm just like going too aggressive. So, and now that it's basically like placed where I want, I can kind of just go over each of the hearts. The main goal for this wet method is we want to scrape out as much water as possible. And you really want to let the vinyl cure before you remove the transfer tape. It's like an arm workout, oh my gosh. So, no, but like really, this is like working out my arms. All right. So again, just scraping out this water. You can also use your fingers to just press down too. Sometimes I find like that's just sometimes easier. It just depends on your design. But I feel like for these cups, sometimes fingers work just as good. All right, so now I've scraped it basically as much as I possibly can. So now I'm gonna let this sit and cure and let it dry for a little bit, and then we can come back and peel off our transfer tape. All right, so I'm back with my cup and I can take the transfer tape off now. Not gonna lie, I could not get back to filming yesterday, so this did sit overnight, but I did check it like maybe an hour or two after I had let it cure, and I would have been able to take off the transfer tape. I just couldn't film, but that's okay. So if you want to let it cure overnight, that's great, but I think an hour or so should be fine. I've had other instances where I'm able to peel the transfer tape off pretty close after. I've just had different experiences with different vinyls, but this one has had the chance to cure overnight. And if some of your layers like this one still tend to peel up, just give it a little press and you'll be fine. I always find that it's better not to just like rip the vinyl off, to kind of like do a little peel and press. Like this star wants to come up, but it is what it is. So I'm just being gentle, peeling and pressing. And peeling and pressing kind of helps too, because it's like you're pressing the vinyl to make sure it stays before you take the transfer tape off of it. So pretty much all of the water is gone. There's still like one little drop there. I don't know if you can see it. So I'm almost done. This is like one of my first really successful can wraps. I don't know why this kind of project has been the most difficult for me for some reason. Alright, so we have our super cute little wrapped Libby glass can. So cute. Alright, so that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something, and I just want to thank Cricut again for partnering with me on this. It's just the most insane thing to me ever, so I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok now, which is super fun. So as always, happy crafting!